Rescuers entered a long-abandoned cabin. The two, still shaken, quickly regain their composure, then make a call to inform that the missing child has been found after 5 years. Upon receiving the news, the uncle hurriedly takes the two sisters back home. However, strange things begin to happen in the house. This evening, the uncle is shocked to find a writhing black hole in the wall and immediately leans in for a closer look. The girlfriend rushes out upon hearing a scream and quickly sends him to the hospital for emergency care, but the uncle can no longer talk. Afterward, the girlfriend takes the two children back home, but she is often plagued by nightmares. Waking up in fear, she turns to see the children staring terrified at something under the bed. As the camera shifts, a hideous ghostly face appears. The next second, where did the terrifying female ghost come from? And how did the young children survive in the wilderness for 5 years? Let's take a look together at this film that can make your heart race while also bringing you to tears. A Spanish horror film. A man named John rushes home in his car, grabbing his youngest daughter and dragging the eldest one, Victoria, into the car. He speeds through the wilderness, the children in the car feeling so scared, asking for their mother, unaware that their father has killed their mother due to business troubles, and now, he is about to make an even crazier move, to take his daughters with him in a suicide. But an accident occurs. The car that falls off the cliff gets stuck in the branches. John helplessly walks through the snow with his two children because he cannot convince himself into hurting the kids. At this moment, a deserted cabin appears ahead. John takes the children into the cabin to warm up, but he hasn't dismissed the thought of dying together. As he hesitates, Victoria suddenly says there's a woman flying around in front of them. John pays no attention to his daughter's words, only thinking that he must act quickly. He then slowly approaches his daughter, taking off her glasses so she can see outside. Then, he pulls out a gun, crying, ready to take action. However, a terrifying figure suddenly yanks him up to the ceiling, because Victoria is severely nearsighted. Without her glasses, she can only hear her father screaming. Soon, the house returns to silence. Meanwhile, upon learning that his brother has shot his sister-in-law, Lucas rushes to his brother's house, only to be told that his brother and the two children have gone this evening. Victoria and her sister Lily are still waiting for their father, but after waiting for a long time, he doesn't show up. The two little ones are very hungry. Suddenly, a cherry rolls over to them, and this cherry comes from a shadow floating in the air. At this time, Lucas is still desperately searching for the two children, but he hasn't found them in 5 years. However, he will not give up easily. Fortunately, his girlfriend Anna supports him in searching for the children. One day, the rescue team finds John's car that has fallen off the cliff and also discovers the cabin where the father and his daughters stayed. They cautiously enter the cabin, noticing colorful drawings on the walls and a large pile of cherry pits by the wall. Although the cabin is messy like a junkyard, there are surprisingly many children's toys in it, and it seems like something alive is scurrying around inside. One of them quickly encounters the creature face to face, and it charges at him in an extremely eerie manner. The other person turns around upon hearing the scream. They see two creatures that look ghostly, but the rescuers are relieved that their efforts were not in vain. Meanwhile, Anna is still at band practice. Suddenly, Lucas comes to say that the children have been found. They then head to the temporary shelter. The staff have already bathed Victoria and Lily and changed their clothes, and after a medical checkup, they find that the girls have no issues. However, the two children have been surviving in the wild and are severely out of touch with modern civilization. At this moment, Lucas cautiously walks into the room, only to find Lily cowering in fear under the bed. While Victoria reacts angrily, making a gesture that resembles an attack, Lucas pulls out the glasses he had prepared in advance. When Victoria sees the face that looks just like her father's, she excitedly rushes forward and hugs him tightly. Later, the two children adapt to the shelter for a while, and the doctor is curious about how they have survived until now, so he wants to study what happened to them. During this time, the doctor finds that they often call out for mommy into the air. To explain this with his medical knowledge, they have imagined a non-existent psychological support figure. A few days later, Lucas plans to take the two children home, but the children's aunt sues him to fight for custody. However, because Lucas has no money, and even the rented house has no separate rooms for the two children, he is bound to lose. But the doctor still doesn't understand how the children have survived so far, so he strikes a deal with Lucas, offering him a house for free, on the condition that he provides regular psychological counseling for the children. Later, Lucas and the others take the children to their new home, and Anna is willing to give up everything for her darling, resolutely quitting her job to stay home and care for the children. Since Victoria had attended kindergarten before going to the cabin, she is very adaptable. In just a few days, she could eat normally with a spoon, but the younger sister, Lily, was still under 1 year old. In spite of Anna's careful nurturing, Lily still squatted by the wall, gnawing on cherries like an animal. She also liked to hide under the bed while sleeping. A few more peaceful days passed by, and Victoria and Lily could now walk upright. This day, Lily happily tugs at the bedsheet in the bedroom with someone, but strangely, Victoria is in the living room at this time, and Anna is doing laundry. So who is playing with Lily? Meanwhile, the doctor recalls that during the counseling sessions, Victoria had told a story about a woman, saying that the woman came from a mental hospital, so the doctor went back to look for information. But there was no mental hospital within 100 miles. Just as he thought Victoria had made up a story, his assistant mentioned that there used to be a mental hospital near the cabin, where a patient named Edith lived, who seemed to be the heroine of Victoria's story. However, that mental hospital had closed down a century ago. At night, Anna went to the living room to play the guitar, but the light above her flickered for some unknown reason. This had never happened before. Suddenly, a strange noise came from behind her. Anna was so frightened that she nearly lost her composure. Before long, Lucas returned home, and the two were about to get affectionate, but Anna saw a terrifying shadow in the mirror. She screamed and told Lucas about it. Lucas first went to the children's room and found the sisters sleeping soundly. He then went back to tell his girlfriend that she might have seen it wrong, but Anna insisted that it wasn't her illusions. Lucas had to search around again, only to find a black hole in the outer wall of the children's room, and black moths were fluttering out of it. He approached it in confusion to take a closer look. Unprepared, Lucas fell and became dizzy. Anna heard the noise and took him to the hospital for emergency care, then was notified that Lucas has gone into a vegetative state. Now, he cannot even take care of himself, let alone care for the two children. Just as Anna felt helpless and lost, the doctor came and offered her many encouraging words. In the end, Anna, driven by her love for her boyfriend, decided to continue caring for the children. She then returned home and told the two children that they need to live well from now on. But Lily, still very resistant, covers her ears. During their afternoon nap, Anna is suddenly awakened by strange noises. She immediately gets up to look towards the hallway. Lily often creates such situations, and Anna feels like she's about to have a heart attack from the stress. In the afternoon, the doctor comes home to provide psychological counseling. This time, there are many more drawings on the walls of the children's room. After seeing them, the doctor finally understands how they have survived until now. It turns out that after their father went missing, they had been waiting in the cabin. Their daily pastime was playing with the moths in the cabin, and at first, they only ate the cherries that rolled out from the darkness, but those could barely fill them up. So the sisters began to try eating other things. One day, they went out to look for food. Lily unexpectedly encountered a wild wolf, but surprisingly, the wolf inexplicably died right in front of the sisters. After the crisis was lifted, life seemed to return to normal. The sisters often made dolls from branches and weeds to play with. Later, the cherry season came to an end, and the small animals they could eat became fewer. To survive, the sisters began to prey on the mice nearby, and they always caught and ate them alive. And so they endured year after year, until they were found by the rescue team. That their lives took a turn, allowing them to return to human society. At this moment, the doctor notices there is a strangely distorted figure in the sisters' drawings. This mysterious figure likes to hide under Victoria's bed, just like Lily, who also enjoys doing that. However, judging by the proportions, this mysterious figure is much taller than Victoria and clearly resembles an adult. After examining the drawings on the wall, he discovers a doll made of twigs on the children's bed. Anna reveals that the children often mumbled to the wall and affectionately called her mommy. Following this, the doctor begins psychological counseling with Victoria, asking her about her mother and the dolls. Victoria replies that the dolls were all made by mommy, and even the ones they are currently playing with. Combining this with what the assistant had said earlier, the doctor feels he may have been mistaken before. Perhaps there really is a mother, and she isn't just a figment of the children's imagination. The situation is clearly more complicated than he had imagined. After returning home, the doctor repeatedly reviews footage taken during the day. trying to find any overlooked details. Meanwhile, Anna tells the children that it's time for bed. After saying goodnight, she returns to her room to rest. However, just as she turns off the light, a faint singing sound comes from beside her. Filled with curiosity, Anna quickly gets up to follow the sound's direction and finds that the singing is coming from the children's room. The room is filled with the sounds of the sisters playing. Anna quickly opens the door to check, finding the sisters fully awake. Although Anna is angry, she secretly breathes a sigh of relief, thinking that the singing must also be from them. Seeing the messy room, Anna decides to tidy it up before leaving, but just as she is about to open the wardrobe, Victoria unexpectedly shakes her head seriously. Anna looks at her but still slowly reaches for the doorknob. Although she doesn't know what is hidden inside the cupboard, Anna wants to believe Victoria and doesn't open it. She urges the children to go to sleep quickly and then returns to her own room. The next day, Anna tells the doctor in detail about the recent strange occurrences. The doctor, before making it sure, doesn't dare to make rash statements, so he tells Anna that in such extreme environments, the children are very likely to have developed a form of delusion. They fantasize and play the role of mommy in their behaviors. In simple terms, it's like playing house. However, as long as they do not give up, there is a possibility of cure. After Anna leaves, the doctor continues to investigate Edith's case, but now the problem is tricky. According to the records, Edith has been dead for many years, so what the children are experiencing may be the spirit of Edith. The reason she has become a lingering spirit is that her body was neglected in the wilderness, exposed to the wind and sun. Her body suffered from roasting and desiccation, finally taking on a bizarre, twisted form. She is filled with resentment, regret, and guilt towards the world, and after her death, she became a wandering ghost. Perhaps only when her grievances truly dissipate will she let go of her obsessions and be reincarnated. At this moment, the data administrator brings a box with significant meaning, telling the doctor that what is inside is the embodiment of obsession. Meanwhile, Anna has finished all the housework. Feeling bored, she starts looking up information about the two children. Just as she becomes engrossed, a strange noise suddenly occurs. As Anna moves closer to investigate, a shadow quietly appears behind her. Anna didn't see the shadow just now, but she feels her hair standing on end, and her whole body trembling. Meanwhile, Lucas, who had been in a coma, wakes up to find himself in an unfamiliar place. At this moment, his deceased brother slowly walks out from under a bridge. He raises a hand with effort, pointing to the side, pleading for him to save his two daughters. At this moment, a large number of moths inexplicably appear in the hospital room, and Lucas's body begins to convulse violently. The monitors nearby flash repeatedly, displaying the word mommy numerous times. The doctor sees something wrong and rushes over for emergency aid, then successfully pulls Lucas back from the brink of death. After a whole night of turmoil, the vegetative Lucas unexpectedly awakens from his coma. Anna is thrilled to hear the news and immediately takes the children to the hospital for a visit. Victoria even thoughtfully brings a gift, a drawing she has worked hard on for a long time. However, Lily remains silent, squatting alone in the corner, chewing on a black moth she just caught. Her appearance is quite eerie. After returning home from the hospital, Anna sees Victoria trying to open a can with efforts and reaches out to offer help, but Victoria suddenly, with a worried expression, says not to be so nice to her, or else mommy will get jealous and angry. She wants her to live a peaceful life, then hurriedly runs away. After a while, the children's aunt comes to see the two girls. She is not a bad person, actually, but Anna and Lucas are still concerned with an outsider raising the sisters. After welcoming the aunt into the house, she immediately sees Lily, who is covered in scars. Her emotions instantly spiral out of control, saying that Anna wasn't taking care of the children. Anna explains that the children like to run around, but the aunt believes that the injuries are caused by her, leaving a few words that she will fight for custody. She leaves and contacts the relevant authorities to report Anna for child abuse. Not long after, the doctor comes to provide psychological counseling for Victoria. To find out who the mommy the children keep mentioning is, the doctor asks Victoria where mommy lives. Is it in this house? But Victoria remains silent about it. However, the pounding heart is noticed by the doctor. He takes out a photo of Edith and asks if the person in it is their mother. The moment Victoria sees the photo, her emotions collapse instantly. In a fit of rage, she yells at the doctor, urging him to leave immediately. Meanwhile, a strange noise suddenly echoes in the room, sending chills down their spines. The doctor, seeing the shadow on the wall gradually spreading, finally confirms that this mysterious mother is Edith from the mental hospital. The black hole in the wall, however, seems like a passage connecting two worlds, so the doctor quickly grabs his belongings to leave, heading to the cabin to confirm his thoughts. When he arrives, night has already fallen. and everything is pitch dark. On the other side, Victoria removes her glasses and stares blankly ahead. Her vision is blurry, but she can still vaguely make out a black figure floating in the air. Meanwhile, Anna is sleeping. The surroundings appear as if enchanted, and she finds herself in a convent. She sees a madwoman wielding a knife, stabbing a nun to death inside the room, and then snatch the child from the nun's arms. The others quickly rush to chase after her. In the end, the madwoman is driven onto the edge of a cliff. She caresses the child with her dry, thin hand. Anna wakes up from the nightmare and opens her eyes to see Victoria standing in front of her. Startled, she trembles all over. Still shaken, she gasps for breaths. Suddenly, a strange sound comes from under the bed, as if something is whispering. Moreover, Victoria's eyes look clearly weird. Then the female ghost slowly approaches Anna, coming in for an intimate encounter. Anna screams and wakes up again, realizing that what just happened was merely a dream within a dream. There is no ghost in the room, and Victoria hasn't come to her room. Meanwhile, Lily, looking at the slender black figure outside the window, understands that Mommy has come for them. She wants to look for Mommy with her sister, but Victoria doesn't want to have any contact with her. She curls up in bed, remaining unmoved. Lily angrily slaps her. Seeing that her sister still doesn't move, she decides to go for Mommy on her own. The doctor enters the cabin and finds a larger black hole in the wall. The scene is incredibly horrifying and eerie. Just as he is about to reach out to touch the opening, a strange scream suddenly echoes in the room. Then, without warning, the flashlight goes out. In desperation, Dr. Dre can only use the flash of his camera and keeps struggling in the dark to search for the source of the sound. At first, the female ghost is far away from him. The next morning, Anna wakes up feeling a sharp pain in her neck. Clearly, she was haunted by a ghost last night. However, the first thing she does is to check on the children's room, only to find that Lily is missing. She anxiously searches around, and when she looks outside, she discovers that Lily is actually sleeping in the yard. So she quickly carries Lily back inside, but Lily struggles fiercely, as if she strongly dislikes contact with Anna, until Anna gently warms her hands. Lily's mood finally returns to normal. To prevent Lily from crawling out of the house again, Anna decides to nail the window shut and also tells the sisters that the window is not an exit. If they want to go out, they must use the stairs. Afterward, she asks a question, and unwillingly, Lily follows her sister and says the stairs. Seeing the two sisters behaving much better, Anna feels she has been fascinated with the feeling of being a mother. Afterward, when she is tidying things up in the children's room, she notices a dark shadow hiding by the bed. Thinking it might be Lily doing something strange again, she doesn't pay it much attention. But just then, Victoria shouts that her sister is hungry and wants breakfast, and the voice is clearly coming from outside. Only then does Anna realize that the shadow she saw earlier wasn't Lily at all. To find out what exactly is in the wardrobe, Anna cautiously approaches and opens the wardrobe. After pushing aside the hanging clothes, she also sees the eerie, terrifying black hole. The female ghost was about to appear, as she expected. Fortunately, Victoria walked into the room, which allowed Anna to avoid the ghost's attack. They then go downstairs for breakfast. Anna and Victoria talked about their mother, but Victoria still refused to mention anything, so Anna gives the doctor a call, but upon countless attempts, no one answered. At this moment, she discovered the documents the doctor had forgotten to take. Inside, besides some of Victoria's psychological treatment plans, there is also a photo of Edith. Anna couldn't help but feel puzzled. Perhaps this person is the so-called mommy. Then Anna took the children to the doctor's office. When the assistant is using the restroom, Anna quickly found all documents about Victoria and left. She then hurried home to give it a study. The documents clearly recorded the secrets about their mother, which were finally beginning to unfold. It turns out that more than 100 years ago, the mentally ill patient Edith gave birth to a child. The staff knew she couldn't care for the child, so they took the child to the adjacent convent and asked the nuns to care for the children. However, after the child was taken away, Edith's condition worsened. She desperately wanted her child back, so, taking advantage of the staff being busy, she sneaked out of the mental hospital and found the nun who was raising her child. She brutally killed her with a sharp object and then ran into the woods with her child. Later, while being chased by others, Edith was driven to the edge of a cliff and finally chose to end her life. The child was left hanging from a branch. This cliff is also the place where John's car fell. Later, Edith's deep resentment turned her into a vengeful spirit, but she never harmed anyone, instead wandering in search of her child. This search lasted for a long 100 years, until one day 5 years ago, when John attempted to harm the 2 children. Wandering nearby, Edith is filled with rage. She killed John and raised the sisters as her own children, so the cherries were picked by her, and the wolves were driven away by her. She would even transform into moths to play with them. She has done her utmost to protect the 2 children. It is also thanks to her that the sisters have survived to this day. Anna, understanding the truth, is weeping uncontrollably. At this moment, Lucas is studying the wall hole from his dream. Although he has never been there, he feels as if he has seen it before. It isn't until he finds the photos taken by the rescue team that he realizes his brother was directing him to the cabin to save the children. So Lucas, disregarding his injuries, rushes out of the hospital, hails a car, and hurriedly drives toward the cabin. When Lucas arrives at the bridge hole from his dream, it is already evening. He parks the car beside the road and walks in the direction his brother indicated, but after walking for a long time, the surroundings become pitch black, yet he still hasn't found the cabin, and there is no phone signal in this area. On the other side, Victoria wakes up, puts on her glasses, and realizes something is wrong. She is very afraid that mommy will hurt Anna, so she hurriedly wakes her sister up. The 2 of them start searching around the room. They find Anna still in the living room looking at documents. At this moment, Victoria turns back to look at her sister, only to see Lily frozen in place, staring at one spot. Victoria tells her sister not to look at her because she must be furious. However, the next moment, the screams pierced the silence of the night. Lily successfully locked her sister outside. Anna heard the commotion and hurried upstairs to check. Lily's screams echoed from the room. Anna opened the door to find Lily curled up in the corner, trembling. The room was still filled with mocking laughter. At this moment, Edith slowly appeared. Anna quickly ran outside with the children, but they couldn't escape from Edith's grasp. Just as Anna was about to be killed, Victoria shouted at mommy that they had made a pact, that they had agreed not to hurt Anna. The ghost quickly charged at Victoria but only took off her glasses. At this moment, the aunt sneaked in with a camera, wanting to capture evidence of Anna mistreating the children. The ghost had no place to vent her anger. When Victoria heard the noise and went downstairs to check, she found that the aunt had become something neither human nor ghost. Soon after, Anna finally woke from her coma, but the house was empty. She realized that the children were in danger. So, she grabbed the mysterious box from the doctor and hurriedly drove toward the cabin. On the way, Anna kept calling Lucas. After all, it was highly likely she couldn't handle it alone. However, the phone was out of service range. In desperation, she had to leave him a voice message, telling him to hurry to the designated location to meet. Soon, the 2 successfully reunited. Then they dashed into the cabin. But to their surprise, there was someone inside. They approached with confusion to take a look. The ghost was truly ruthless in her actions. Seeing that the children were not there, Anna thought in a bad direction, that Edith must have taken the children to the edge of the cliff, wanting to reenact the tragedy of that year. She wanted to turn the sisters into ghosts. This way, the 3 of them could be together forever. Thinking of this, Anna and Lucas arrived at the edge of the cliff, and indeed, Edith and the 2 children were there. Edith was seen floating in the air, calling the children to come to her side. Lily walked towards her without any hesitation. Just as Lily was about to reach the edge of the cliff, Lucas lunged forward and saved the child. Seeing someone blocking her, Edith became furious and launched a fierce attack at Lucas. Anna hurriedly took out something from the box, shouting Edith's name loudly, and handed over the bones of her own child to her. Edith took the bones from Anna's hands, and her appearance gradually returned to how she looked in life. She then began to cry sorrowfully, but just as she was about to leave with the children, Lily suddenly called her mommy, because, in Lily's eyes, since she was too young to understand anything, it was Edith who had been by her side, truly nurturing her like a mother. In Lily's understanding of motherhood, Edith was the person who loved her the most in the world. Hearing Lily's call, Edith threw away the bones in her hand and transformed back into a vicious ghost. After dealing with the person in her way, Edith prepared to take the 2 children to be together forever. But Anna would never allow anyone to take the children away. She had long regarded them as her own daughters. She bravely stepped forward to resist, using all her strength to grab hold of Victoria's hem. The ghost was stunned by this scene. She crouched down and gently stroked Victoria's face.
Goodbye, Mama.
The ghost, upon hearing this, didn't continue to entangle them. At this time, the younger sister still wanted to call her sister to join them, but Victoria shook her head and tried to hold her back. Anna kept calling out Lily's name, but they all knew that Lily wanted to be with her mother. In the end, the ghost carefully wrapped her daughter and transformed into countless free moths. Meanwhile, Lucas and his family embrace tightly together. The film comes to an end here. This is one of the few horror films that can truly move people to tears. The first half creates a very dark and oppressive atmosphere. Two innocent girls actually lived with a malevolent ghost and spent 5 years living like wild men. Just this point is enough to provoke endless speculation. What kind of 5 years could that have been? Throughout the narrative, the film employs a very typical exploratory style, methodically peeling back the layers of mystery. What is most surprising is the ending of the story. I thought that once the ghost mother got her child's bones, the story would come to a conclusion. Unexpectedly, the call of mommy triggered a new conflict, which elevated Anna's maternal love to a new height. Of course, this ending that separates the sisters in life and death left many viewers feeling it was too cruel. However, many netizens expressed that there were many details earlier, suggesting that the sister had actually died long ago. For example, in the painting on the wall, the sister encountered a wolf, while the ghost mother was beside her, weeping in agony, which indicates that the ghost mother arrived too late. Perhaps she never intended for her sister to die but wanted to find a way for her sister to live on in some form. In the end, the sister happily left with the ghost mother, which is why there was no body, and she transformed directly into a moth. What surprised me the most in the film was the ghost mother's appearance. It felt a bit like Kayako, with her long hair and twisted body clinging to the wall, and even moldy circles and moths appearing around her. The overall visual effect was truly stunning. There may be one thing that confuses many people, which is why Edith could not find her child's soul. I think the reason is that she died first, and the child hung on the branch, later passing away, but Edith's remains had long drifted away to an untraceable place, while the child's body remained on the branch. So after the child's body was taken away, it was reincarnated, which led to the ghost wandering with her obsession for over 100 years. If you enjoy my channel, please subscribe to it. Your support is the greatest encouragement for me.